Hey folks, Will Brink here at www.brinkzone.com, and today I want to cover Bulletproof coffee. If you don't know what Bulletproof coffee is, do a quick Google search on that so I don't have to go in too deep an explanation as to what it is, so I can cover more or less the specifics of the claims of Bulletproof coffee. Obviously the coffee part, and I'm a big fan of coffee, as most of my videos are made with coffee in my hand because I love it, and I'm going to link you to a vid on coffee, which will pop up, so you can go get my take on coffee if you're interested. And obviously this is nearly not about coffee. Coffee is sort of not part of this discussion because it's ubiquitous and it's not the issue. The issue about Bulletproof coffee is what is added to the coffee, so let's get on with that. The proponents of Bulletproof coffee basically have magical fats that are added via MCT, coconut oil, or more purified MCT, medium chain triglycerides, and they focus on butter, and they tend to push grass-fed butter as being inherently better than regular butter, and so forth. And you can go look up those details. So what is the big deal? Well, again, proponents, as usual, tend to take some kernels of truth about some of these fats that are added and make a much bigger deal of them and push the benefits well beyond what is actually established in the science and even in the real world. So let's just start with the MCTs. I actually did recently do a video on coconut oil, which will pop up on your screen shortly. You can take a look at. That has also made a big resurgence, again, as being a magical fat, so that'll give you a little more background on MCTs. But medium chain triglycerides have been out literally since the 80s for public consumption, and early studies looked very promising, and they were sold in the fitness market, and bodybuilders used them a lot because on paper they looked like fairly magical fat, that they were not going to convert to body fat, they were going to produce energy, and so on and so on. And the reality is that as studies came out, more and more studies came out, again, the effects in healthy, active people were not very impressive. They either had really no effect or a very minimal effect, and again, they just fell out of favor. And as I've said in other videos, things that are popular tend to come around about every decade or so. And now, again, this is not to say that MCTs are of no value. There are some interesting effects of MCTs. They have an interesting metabolic pathway they take. But again, you have to separate the marketing hype and the claims from the science of it and go see what really the benefits are going to be to you. Step 2 of Bulletproof coffee is the addition of butter, and with a fairly strong emphasis on grass-fed butter, likely, of course, because grass-fed butter might have a slightly higher CLA content, conjugated linoleic acid, which I'll get to in a minute, and there's butyric acid in there, which again is sort of making a big comeback. So let me get on to the butter part. CLA, again, been around for a long time, was very popular for a short time, and again, as studies came out, a whole bunch of studies came out, the effects that were found with CLA were either very contradictory. Some found fairly positive effects, some found literally no effects, and CLA pretty much dropped out of favor as a major supplement in the sports nutrition, the bodybuilding market. And at this point, I also need to talk about dose. Again, this is probably quite specific to CLA, but certainly to MCTs and stuff. What people don't often do is look at the dose needed for the effect. Even if, let's say, CLA is going to have an effect, the studies that found it had an effect were in very high doses. We're talking 5 grams, 10 grams, 8, 12 grams, that's 12,000 milligrams. The lowest dose I have ever seen in a study actually have any effect was about 3 grams. That's 3,000 milligrams. Now, are you getting 3 grams of CLA, adding the grass-fed butter to your coffee? Unlikely. Again, butyric acid definitely has some interesting effects, some potentially useful effects, and it is true that there are many cultures out there that do add butter to their coffee, and there are even a few cultures that drink butter directly. And again, that's okay if that's what you want to do. So I know it sounds like I am basically anti-Bulletproof coffee, and I'm not actually being anti-Bulletproof coffee. I'm trying to bring you the facts and the details. If you find Bulletproof coffee tastes good and it fits into your total calorie requirements and your macros, i.e. your total fat you want to take in, protein, so on, you know, go for it. Keep using it. However, don't fool yourself into thinking that their magical fats are going to somehow not be counted as total calories to your total calorie intake. So if you're dumping, you know, what could be 40, 50, 60 grams of additional fat into your total calorie intake, and you're not an especially active person, don't be shocked if you start adding some weight because the magic of the small amount of CLA and MCTs and stuff didn't offset that. Like I say, if you enjoy it and it works in your calories and it works in your macros, what have you, or you're maybe on a particularly low carb, higher fat diet, all good. Keep taking it. Again, I don't think it's bad stuff. My main issue I'm trying to get across to you all is take the larger claimed benefits with a big grain of salt as to what you're really going to get from the stuff, and hopefully that helps. If it does, you might want to sub up to this channel, because you can see I give away the unbiased, straight up objective info based on the science versus the hype and the nonsense. And I'll see you all on the Brink Zone.